You might already know that nearly 3/4 of Earth's surface is covered with water. It's a fact we've all heard in school, right? But today we're going to focus on just one ocean, and trust me, its size will blow your mind. So even though there's technically one global ocean surrounding all the continents, we've divided it into 4 regions for convenience: the Atlantic, Arctic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans. Today we're diving deep into the Pacific Ocean, and you'll soon see why it's in a league of its own. Let's start with something fun to help you grasp just how massive the Pacific Ocean is. Imagine digging a hole in the ocean floor somewhere between Peru and Chile. Now, if you kept digging straight through the Earth, where do you think you'd come out? You'd still be in the Pacific Ocean, near Vietnam and Taiwan. These 2 points are called antipodes, which are spots on Earth that are directly opposite of each other. The Pacific is so huge that it has many antipodes within itself. But that's just one way to understand its size. Let's talk numbers. The Earth's circumference is about 40,000 kilometers. That means if you hopped on a plane and flew nonstop around the planet, you'd cover 40,000 kilometers to get back to where you started. Now, here's the crazy part. There are points in the Pacific Ocean that are almost 20,000 kilometers apart. That's half the Earth's circumference. For example, the distance between Indonesia and Colombia is roughly 20,000 kilometers, making it the longest stretch of the Pacific Ocean. And get this, during my research, I discovered that if you could fit not just 1, but 5 moons inside this region, and there'd still be space left over. Can you imagine that? Now, let's talk about visibility. Have you ever stood on a beach and tried to see how far the ocean stretches? Even if you're on a ship, you can't see the entire Pacific Ocean at once. Why? Because the Earth is curved, and our eyes can only see up to the horizon. For a person who's 6 feet tall, the horizon is about 5 kilometers away. To see farther, you'd need to climb higher. But even if you climbed to the height of Mount Everest and looked down, you'd only see about 370 kilometers of the Pacific Ocean. That's just a tiny fraction of its total size. What if we go even higher? The International Space Station orbits Earth at about 400 kilometers above the surface. Even from there, you can't see the entire Pacific Ocean. Let's use Google Earth as an example. If you start at Bora Bora Island and zoom out to the height of a drone, then to the height of a commercial plane, about 10 kilometers, and finally to the height of the International Space Station, 400 kilometers, you still can't see the whole ocean. Even if you zoom out 10,000 times to about 63,000 kilometers away, you'd only see 95% of the Pacific Ocean and just 5% of Earth's land. That's how massive it is. Speaking of size, the Pacific Ocean covers an area of 165.2 square kilometers. To put that into perspective, it's so big that it could fit all of Earth's continents: North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, Antarctica, and Greenland inside it. And there'd still be enough space left to fit 8 countries the size of India. That's mind-blowing, isn't it? The total land area on Earth is about 140 million square kilometers, which means all the continents, mountains, deserts, and forests could fit inside the Pacific Ocean with room to spare. But let's take this a step further. Instead of comparing the Pacific Ocean to Earth's land, let's compare it to another planet. Take Mars, for example. The total surface area of Mars is about 148 million square kilometers. If you poured all the water from the Pacific Ocean onto Mars, the entire planet, including its mountains and craters, would be submerged hundreds of feet underwater. That's how much water we're talking about. Now, let's dive deeper, literally. The Pacific Ocean isn't just vast on the surface, it's incredibly deep too. The deepest point in the ocean is called the Challenger Deep, located in the Mariana Trench. It's about 11 kilometers deep. To give you an idea, if you dropped Mount Everest into the Challenger Deep, its peak would still be over 2 kilometers underwater. And the Mariana Trench isn't alone. There are 3 other trenches in the Pacific Ocean that are more than 10 kilometers deep: the Tonga Trench, the Philippine Trench, and the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. These trenches are like underwater canyons, and they're some of the most mysterious places on Earth. Now let's talk about some fascinating history. Did you know the Pacific Ocean got its name from a Portuguese explorer named Ferdinand Magellan? In 1521, Magellan sailed across the ocean and named it Mar Pacifico, which means peaceful sea. He called it that because the waters were calm during his voyage. But don't let the name fool you. The Pacific Ocean is anything but peaceful. It's home to some of the most active tectonic plates on Earth, which means it's a hotspot for earthquakes and tsunamis. In fact, most of the world's earthquakes happen around the Pacific Ocean in an area called the Ring of Fire. Speaking of the Ring of Fire, did you know the Pacific Ocean is also home to more than 75,000 active volcanoes? That's right, 75,000. The largest one is called the Havre Seamount, located near New Zealand. These underwater volcanoes are constantly shaping the ocean floor, creating new landforms and even new islands over time. And speaking of islands, the Pacific Ocean has more islands than any other ocean on Earth. There are over 25,000 islands scattered across its waters, and thousands of them are so remote that they've never been visited by humans. Some of these islands are so small and isolated that finding them on a map, or even with Google Earth, could take weeks or even months. Imagine stumbling upon an uncharted island in the middle of the Pacific. How cool would that be? But here's something you might not know. The Pacific Ocean is actually shrinking. Every year, it gets a little smaller because of the movement of tectonic plates. As the Pacific plate slides under other plates, the ocean floor is slowly sinking. But don't worry, the Atlantic Ocean is expanding at the same rate, so it all balances out in the end. One last fun fact. The Pacific Ocean is home to some of the most unique and diverse ecosystems on the planet. From the Great Barrier Reef in Australia to the kelp forests off the coast of California, the Pacific is teeming with life. It's estimated that there are over 1 million species living in the Pacific Ocean, and scientists believe we've only discovered a fraction of them. Who knows what other secrets are hiding in its depths? So there you have it, the Pacific Ocean in all its glory. It's not just big, it's enormous. It's deeper, wider, and more mysterious than most of us can even imagine. From its countless islands and underwater volcanoes to its mind-boggling size and depth, the Pacific Ocean is truly one of the most incredible features of our planet. Next time you look at a map, take a moment to appreciate just how vast and awe-inspiring it really is. And who knows, maybe one day you'll get to explore a tiny corner of it yourself. Until then, keep wondering, keep exploring, and keep being amazed by the world around you. Thanks for watching.